Few questions to ask. We're gonna start out with this question from Ethan and Liam HD. Finally, some good bubbling action going on. So I don't usually have time to experiment. It's a little interesting because whatever's on the surface can start to evaporate. I think a lot of them are getting trapped underneath that surface skin, so the bubbles grow off of it. Definitely. Well, you never miss out on the fun. Don't forget to ring that bell and we will see. No, it's just kind of cool. And then reddit.com/r/thekingofrandom. Periodically in Thanksgiving Point, which is in Lehi, Utah. It's gonna be going down September 15th. We're gonna be in one of our post-video chat sessions. We probably need to get a better name for it. There's sort of a skin on top. My cameraman gets roped into it anyway. Sorry, Mark. This subreddit that's much more recently the flamethrower arm. That one of those main things we want to. Guys, Grant and I are going to be at a mini maker fair. It's at Electric Park. Well, we hit a flash point for our bubbles seem to be getting a little bit bigger. I didn't even have to hit it with the torch directly. I'm just answering questions. Set it off. This question is brought to us by Josiah Vaughn. All of them. We want to see what happens if you get a bunch of this fluid underflow and arm-mounted flamethrower. Next, and I've loved building and making stuff for as long with our fluid. That is a pot full of correction fluid. Quite a bit in there, right? We're gonna do some small, fun, flammable. So yeah, we're gonna do this anyway. Correction fluid, never seen it before. I don't know if anyone's done that. Some questions from some of you guys. I also have some questions that I don't have a specific Josh, our social media manager, is going to, we're just gonna draw. As a result, it's very soft now. I can just sort of crush it. The surface and it's just bubbling. It's not doing the bigger bubbles. It's just bubbling too. Going forward, we'll try and do like a plasticky squish before it crumbles into paste. Question. My first build was the Super Soaker here. This is one of my favorite builds I've done. I work and a lot of doing builds or anything like that just because it's part of the look. Moving on, we've got as the surface dries out a little bit underneath. These ones are safety rated, and so we got them for eye protection, and I wear, so, super skin. Most of them are similar. It does light on fire even if it's not exposed directly to flame. If we feel the need, we'll turn the temp up. A little bit of queuing per video, but we have enough people that we're able to keep churning them out 5 a week. And why it dries so quickly. That works great as a correction fluid when you're trying this, especially more recently. When I first started, I was a little bit nervous about like, oh, it was just boiling on the stove and that was enough. These bottles can make it out there, would love to see you. A stripe correction fluid was his WITE-OUT brand, but I suspect like the science behind what's happening, and so it's a little bit of building and a little bit of learning. But overall, the secret to how we manage to make a video every day is by having a lot. And that box up at the top will take you to our last video. You should check that out. The box at the bottom shows you what YouTube left, and then of course some things make people. A lot of very talented people wear black gloves all the time. And the answer to that is very simple. It's common combinations. I have an art background. I majored in sculpture. Vlog? It's not really vlogging. I'm not really talking. Now I learned what happens to it. Don't do it. It lights on fire. It's dangerous. Soup's on. It is in, and you probably definitely don't want to breathe in any of the fumes. I was really trying to stay upwind of every swamp bubbling. Use your idea. We can send you 25 bucks. Guys, we recently 36 of these bottles, 0.7 fluid ounces or 20 milliliters, bringing some of our favorite. Recently hit an amazing milestone, 10 million subscribers. Thank you all so much. We'll have a craft table where you can make your own sky balls. It's gonna be awesome. Check the link. About and I really like the effect. I think the most let us know. We can write them down here on YouTube or just write them on any low temperature and just let it go for a little bit, see what happens. And then if it was fairly high pressure, so it wasn't comfortable, but like that slime went every people behind the scenes. So I'll do my came up with all of the designs. I did borrow here and there little bits, the YouTube channel. So these bottles into a pot, turn on the heat and learn what happens. Small scale test first. That is indeed quite flammable. I see no reason that should stop us. Slow build and slow pop. Completely liquid. Time to do something like that. we do have some plans moving forward for how we can fire them even when I'm not. Cleans it up. I would say one of the messiest was when we projects. We're gonna have a stage show, reach out on these different channels, asking for your questions. And if you respond to one, today's video is over, but the fun doesn't have to end. A pressure tank and filled it with slime. Questions that you've been burning to ask for years. And we'll try and do for me too. It was part of the uniform. A lot of the time pouring out a little bit larger quantity. Inside was the laminar flow. Probably the question I've been asked the most is why I was boiling. I think I took a shower for like 2 hours afterward. Things that really get you interactive. I've got there too. See you in the next one. Talk to you then. Ignited, but now it's just on fire. Guys, if you have more questions, let me hire for that. I make the mess, I clean it up, and I'm doing stuff that you don't. That will sort of join underneath the dried out surface. Sort of like a. And now we're just letting it burn out. So this is what happens. More Q&A stuff, answering all of the questions. There's no more solvent in here, so this is just whatever is left until that skin pops, and then they escape. I am too darn curious. I gotta try turning this up a little. It's time to turn on the burner. We're gonna start on very low. A few little changes to the channel. Nothing that... WITE-OUT is a brand name of correction. I talked about it in that video, the gyrus of all, but I won't just be picking out a random number, but we'll have as well. But I really like doing builds and sculpting type stuff. So for me, this is great. Did have to figure out most of it on my own. Keep the questions coming. We've got stuff for you to see, for you to do, for you to learn. And we just, of course, is still because that's very, very white. And see if it burns. Definitely hard to see in the light. Let's try WITE-OUT. And now it's on fire. I'm gonna try and move that off of our table down a build that I did. And that one's cool because it's fun to physically build, like the actual construction process, free up a little bit more time, keep the same number of videos coming, but be able to... Our fire has gone out, and this is what is left of our WITE-OUT. There's nothing the whole time. Is there anything like this you'd like to see us try in the future? Let us know down in the comments. We just want to be able to interact with you guys as much as possible. Thanks for watching. Talk to you next time. It looks like it's kind of just breaking into powder, but it does feel fluid that usually comes in pretty small bottles, and you rarely see a large quantity of it together. Well, we went in the description for 20% off of admission price, which is only like $8. You giveaways too. And hopefully we've come up with some good engaging ways for us to do those giveaways. So we have to solve the 8 hours, but then we've got like 3 or 4 other people who are also working full time and light it and thinks you should be watching next. And if you're not a subscriber, just hit the bomb to join the club. That Instagram post. You can let us know on Twitter. You can go to the King of Random, made of a solvent of some type, which is why I love doing that scale of things, but I am trying to produce 5 videos a week. And so that is the question, isn't it? A lot of hard ahead, and we got a large quantity of it. Yet researched what exactly correction fluid is. I need the gloves for, and sometimes like when I'm doing stuff with tape, they're actually detrimental, and in those cases I do take them off. Hours of work. Hopefully anyone finds detrimental, but more likely to see your question end up here. Asks, how do you guys manage to create a video every day? That I meant to reference to, but lots and lots to do is more interaction with you guys. So starting out with today, we're gonna be doing and then heat it up to the boiling point. What are your personal top 3 favorite builds to date? Because when I started, Grant told me, so it ends up being 40 to 50. Got a nice clean cooking pot. Interesting the shape it forms into. It's like there was little tiny bubbles. Onto some dirt. Took the large flamethrower, the one that uses, I think the WITE-OUT is weird. We got a spot that like broke through the bills, and the boxes and just all over have warnings talking about how it's extremely of his specific queries. You are probably a lot of titanium oxide. Another early one, start adding in a scale some of our projects up. So hopefully that works out. Super soaker, lamb got hot enough. I assume that the fumes coming off of the top of it are what Nico Games asks, which project made the most mess and who? Look at that. They've been changed by the heat. That's it right there is WITE-OUT. Maybe just sprinkle some of this on your paper. We are wearing safety glasses. These are from Home Depot and they are sold as safety glasses. Each we're gonna empty. It was a killer fun build. So I built that whole thing. Scale test with the liquid in 1 bottle, seeing what happens. No liquid left in this. This is just powder at the very least. Then we're gonna boil the rest of it. The idea is simple. We're gonna empty 36. You're using lots of different materials. And then there's good tests and puzzles. Like it has just the tiniest bit of a gummy texture to it. Just at the same time on it's so flammable. And we're just gonna make sure we've got a fire extinguisher on hand. That'll take care. Mostly made of, it's still boiling. So, update on boiling. As long as I can remember, I can draw. I like doing that. It evaporates really quickly and it starts leaving sort of a... These are not just sunglasses that we wear. So let us know how I take the gloves off if they're a hindrance. To start with, so if you go very much for that, and we want on that video was saying like, well, why would you build this? I don't, but there's no cleaning crew, there's no one This is why you keep it away from heat sources. This is why it says danger, extremely flammable. And I think, oh, it's on fire. When we light it on fire, and if people asked my qualification, additional stuff that we haven't been doing much of in the past. And one more shout outs to you guys, our fans. We'll try and do some. Am I allowed to change things up? So now. No. 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 No.